Hi, it's Debbie from Vintage Food Farm. Today we're going to do a tour of our tropical, self-sufficient, raised garden bed vegetable garden. Let's go. So basically we will start at the beginning and wind our way through, and I'll give you a quick rundown of what we've got in each garden bed. So this is mainly herbs. We tend to use a lot more herbs in a tropical region than vegetables, so we really use herbs as vegetables. So we've got spring onions, and you can see that they're self-seeding. We've got heaps of mint, a beautiful rosemary plant. If you could just smell this, it's absolutely beautiful. This is lemon basil, and you can see all the flowers and how that brings so many bees and other pollinators to pollinate the rest of the fruit and vegetables. We've got thyme. Over here is a parsley, which has actually died off because of the heat, but I have absolutely no doubt that that will be back very soon. So walking down to the next bed, you'll notice that we've got pawpaw in the middle of each garden bed, and you might think that's a bit crazy because it would take up all from the rest of the plants in the garden, but that's actually not what's happening. I think because it's so hot, just that little bit of dapple shade is actually doing the plants really good. And by accident, we found out that by having a pawpaw in the middle of the raised garden bed, it actually fills up the garden bed and stops the soil from dropping down, which is actually one of the biggest problems of having raised garden beds. So in here you can see that we've got beautiful sawtooth coriander. You can hear chickens in the background. Lots of spring onions, and these spring onions are all going to seed. That's a coriander seed pod there. We've got some leeks. We've got some other onions. A few very sad pieces of spinach. And this is what happens. Pawpaws just pop up everywhere. But fortunately, I can actually dig them up and put them in pots and give them away, or I can put them in another part of the garden. The chickens eat pawpaws and love them, so that works out fine. This little beauty here is Tongan spinach, and that grew up to, I would say, 4 meters high before I had to cut it down. When you pick these, so you use this like a spinach in a stir fry or a soup, and basically you just rip it apart and put it in, and it's very yummy. Also in this garden bed we have Cape gooseberries. I'll just try and find one. So that one's not ripe. This one here. So if you have a look inside, it's got this beautiful little yellow, almost like a cross between a tomato and a passion fruit, and that makes a beautiful salsa if you mix it with the sawtooth coriander and spring onions, like on a fish taco. You could have a beautiful salsa with the Cape gooseberries, spring onion and sawtooth coriander. This has all just been cut back, so this whole bed was totally overgrown, but I love it because we had so much. This one here is Okanara spinach, and this one here is longevity spinach. Both really, really healthy, grow really well in a tropical environment. Normal spinach can't, English spinach can't handle the heat. But you can see the Cape gooseberry up here. Look at that, there's another one coming. There's some more up the top. I'd really like to make a Cape gooseberry jam. And then moving on to this back one. So that's a really nice lemongrass. You can get different sorts of lemongrass. That one's got a lot of flavour. That's a kaffir lime tree, but I'm not going to let it grow into a tree. I'm just going to keep cutting it back so that instead of having to walk down the back to the fruit trees to get kaffir lime at night, I can just grab some there. That's galangal that I've cut back. Over here, a lot of these tomatoes are dying off because it's getting too hot. This one here, this is a really interesting plant. This is a pea eggplant. This is a weed. So yes, it grows beautiful Thai pea eggplants that you can put in curries and stir fries, or you can stir fry them and put them just as a side dish. But it is self-seeding everywhere, which is great for having lots of eggplant, but we're going to have to pull out some of them. I don't know if you can see, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of cherry tomatoes. At this time of year, normal tomatoes don't grow really well. I love growing normal tomatoes, but at this time of year we're just going to do the cherry tomatoes, but prolific. I'll show you at the end of the archway how many there are. This is Chinese celery. A beautiful plant. It's not meant to grow this big, but it does in the tropics, which is great. Just the same as normal celery, probably more flavour. We've got dill, and that's about to go to seed there. Beautiful with all our chicken eggs poached. Marigolds. The marigolds, I think, definitely work at keeping away the bugs, and they also look really pretty, and they attract pollinators to the garden. More Chinese celery. I use lots of it. It's great in any nationality. You can do a stir fry with celery in it, or soups, anything I put celery in. In the wheelbarrow here, I have Vietnamese fish mint. That's an acquired taste. We love it. That's a little flower there. If you've ever been to Hoi An in Vietnam and had khao lao, that has fish mint in it. One of the yummiest meals on the globe. We've got basil. We've got eggplant coming back up. So all of the eggplant has died off. We had hundreds of eggplant, and now it's starting to come back. Over this side we have Thai basil. So especially because we have lots of eggs, we love to make pad krapao with fried eggs on top. So that's a minced pork dish with lots of chilli and so much Thai basil in it. Or holy basil fried rice I make with Thai basil instead of holy basil. You'll have a look here. I don't know if you can see all the tomatoes that go all the way back. So these are now sun drying naturally in the sun, which is pretty cool. Very sweet. We do dry some in the dehydrator as well. So just along here, we've got Vietnamese coriander. I've seen people call this Vietnamese mint, but this one is actually Vietnamese coriander, as far as I'm aware. We've got more eggplants coming up. Here's a little eggplant flower. More tomatoes. And you'll notice this is not a really tidy, beautiful vegetable garden. I've just planted everything and let it go to seed. And I almost want it just to naturalise amongst all the garden beds. I don't care if there's like self-seeding happening with tomatoes coming up here and basil coming up here. As long as it's all in the garden beds and I can mow it and I can get to it without walking on a snake because it's nice and clean, let it grow, let it grow. Here we've got another Cape gooseberry that has self-seeded. So I'll actually dig those up and put them into pots and give them probably to a neighbour. Oh, this is so exciting. So I don't know if you can see that properly. It's quite a big plant. This is cardamom, and cardamom has taken 4 years. I had it in my old house, and it didn't flower. And I dug it up before we left and put it in a pot, and then we planted it here, and it's now started to flower. And this I'm so excited about because it's actually really hard to grow. And I didn't even know it was flowering because I expected the flowers to be at the top of the plant, but no, I'll show you the flowers for cardamom. There's one there. That's going to turn into the pods. So that's like the spent flowers. There's some more. There's some more coming up. Pretty messy, not a beautiful plant, but still very exciting. And just to have a couple of pods to put in the rice cooker with our rice to give a nice fragrance. So that's very exciting. So after it has flowered, I think I will cut that back, and that will take off again, and hopefully we get more flowers next year. Heaps of chilies. We use a lot of chilies. I like it spicy. Tim doesn't really, but in here, this is ginger, and you'll see this is galangal. It's finding it a little bit difficult in the heat. I might just actually put the hose on that later just to cool its roots down a little bit. And then around here, sorry about that, is turmeric. So I'm not sure if you can see in here. So that's turmeric. Just try and... You can see it's nice and yellow. So you can use that in yellow curry, Thai yellow curry, or in Indian food. There's some more of those cardamom pods. Here's another little self-seeded pawpaw. And these are peanuts coming up. So I don't actually know if they'll have enough sun in here, but they've come up themselves, so they can stay there. So again, this is more of the Vietnamese coriander. We can't grow normal coriander. Up here. It's too hot. So as soon as you plant it, it will grow, but then it will just bolt and go to seed and then die. So the sawtooth coriander, which a lot of people don't like because they say it's too spiky. If you pull those seed pod flowers off, I'll show you. So this is where your main spikes are. If you pull these off and get rid of them, you'll get much lusher leaves to eat, and you'll lose a lot of the spikiness. And then I'll show you a beautiful sawtooth coriander leaf. Nice and lush, no spikes. So tasty, so fresh. In Asian food, in Mexican food. So again, we've got some more chilies. Lots of Thai basil, self-seeding all through the whole garden. You can see here, that's where it's gone to seed. So you can just chuck that down where there's a spot, and that will grow. These are all a little bit woody because this is all from last year, but I want to wait until all these seeds are gone, and then I'll pull out the dead stalks at the end. More eggplant. This is a much more healthy parsley. Lots of new shoots. Again, put parsley in everything. Here, just a lot more tomatoes, a lot more basil, and a lot more coriander. Some little random self-seeded spring onions. I'll show you here too, back to the beginning of the other bed. So we've also got just sweet basil, so Italian basil. And then we also have some purple basil here. You can see we've got pumpkins everywhere. We had a beautiful pumpkin from a friend, so I threw those seeds down, and we got heaps of pumpkins from that, and then I threw some more seeds down, and we've now got pumpkins everywhere. So many pumpkins, we could not possibly eat them all. Chickens love them though. And here again we've got more chilies. Some more of the pea eggplant. You'll see here we've got one of these reflective owls. That's because the birds really like the larger tomatoes, and we've still got a few larger tomatoes there, so that's keeping them away. You can see how big this pea eggplant plant is. And every one of those peas, if they drop off, they will self-seed. Here is something really cool. So this is kangkong. So with this you would use it in an Asian stir fry. It grows so quickly, and you can also cut up the stems. You'll often see in a Thai restaurant maybe crispy pork with kangkong. It's very yummy. But you don't need to just use it in Asian cooking, you can use it in everything. This here is sword bean. When we get into the middle of the arch. I'll show you a sword bean. These are really crunchy. They stay crunchy in a pickle. These are tree lettuce, which I'll show you around the corner. They are one of the best things we grow. We use this for us and the chickens daily. There's more kangkong. I'm not sure. I think some people call it morning glory, but I don't know if it's different from kangkong. Over here, this is a massive papaya tree. We bought a skyberry papaya and we used the seeds to start, and then as we've gotten more fruit, we've gotten more and more papayas. But you'll just see the root system with this papaya is so big that it's actually filling up the base of the garden bed, which is just so good because it means we don't have to worry about filling the garden beds, which makes it that we might lose some plants by putting dirt on top of them. Some broccoli, I doubt they'll last, but we're giving it a go. This spinach, I don't even remember what this spinach is, but it's not bad, like it's doing really well. These are blueberries. They are getting blueberries on them now, so we got probably, I would say, 4 punnets last season, so I think we'll get a lot more. You can see there the baby blueberries. Very yummy. A guy at work actually gave me a couple of blueberry plants that he didn't want, so I put them in the back here, and they are starting to fruit already. Pretty cool. 3 blueberries are good. There we go. And then in this archway, so just at the beginning you'll see all of this tree lettuce. We use tree lettuce we'll have an egg and lettuce sandwich with tree lettuce. We use it as a green in a stir fry. We put it into Chinese fried rice. You can just use it for anything. It's really, really crunchy, really tasty, and grows so quickly. We started off with 1 plant that we bought at the markets, and it went to seed. Actually, no, we started off with 1 plant, then my daughter's tree lettuce went to seed and we got some seeds from her and threw them down. Nothing happened for a while, so I was like, oh, this is, like not as good as what everybody's saying. But then all of a sudden, we are just overrun with tree lettuce. But the chickens love it. I'll show you in another video when I do feeding chickens how much the chickens absolutely love eating this tree lettuce, and we love it too. Tim takes an egg and lettuce sandwich to work every day from our eggs, which are super eggs, super tasty, and this tree lettuce, and he loves it. So here, that's more kangkong that's just growing very big, and then these are the wing beans, asparagus peas. So pretty. So when you cut them up and stir fry them, they do taste a little bit like asparagus. That is pandan. So you can use that in Asian desserts, Southeast Asian desserts, or you can just take a leaf and screw it up and put it in the rice cooker with your rice, and that will give it a nice pandan flavour. If you've seen Asian desserts that are green, they're green. Oh, just the smell of that pandan is so beautiful. It's almost, if you haven't smelt it, it smells like pandan, but it's sort of like a cross between coconut and something else green. It's very, very fragrant, very beautiful. But the Asian green desserts, that's based on this plant, which is pandan. So that will actually, you can see I planted 1 plant, tiny little plant, and now that's starting to separate into multiple plants. More Cape gooseberries for friends and neighbours popping up everywhere. If I plant them out in the garden, the wallabies will come and eat them. So that's why we have a fence around this garden, because wallabies will just eat everything. Here is capsicums. They're just little capsicums, but they're beautiful. And then over here, we've got purple snake beans. Not so many at the moment, but they are prolific when they're here. And then also we have this, which is called bitter melon. I don't like a lot of bitter melon, but I like a little bit really thinly sliced in a stir fry. And these are pretty weird. I'll show you this one. So inside they have, I don't know if you can see, these red seeds. That's actually like a sweet jelly type coating, and the chickens will eat those. They don't eat them first. They don't love them, but they will eat them if they're around for long enough. But if I just chuck those seeds in the ground, they will grow. More chilies. Here is another one of our really cool plants. I've just got to look for one. Cucumber melon. So that's a cross between a cucumber and a melon, and it is the freshest, crispest, yummiest cucumber to put in an Indian raita, or just in a salad, on a gyros, in souvlaki, anything where you'd use normal cucumber. So this, if you have a look down here, is tree lettuce on steroids. So there are so many plants. And you can see here, this one is going to seed. So we're going to get even more, which I am certainly not worried about, because we just rip off 100 leaves a day like this and feed them to the chickens. And they love them. They absolutely love them. I'll show you, so you'll see that we've got our fence so that it goes off into the chicken run. And that's so that when I'm doing the gardening and I'm picking off random leaves, I can just throw them over the fence, and the chickens and the guineas, you'll see, can come and eat them. So yeah, tons and tons and tons of tree lettuce. Still more tomatoes growing everywhere. I just throw tomatoes everywhere so that they can grow and self-seed. You'll see how pretty the wing beans are up there. And I'll just take you down the back. This is, oh, you can see one of these. So the sort of pumpkin that we grow is a grandma pumpkin. So that's that one there. It's actually had a couple of bites out of it. So, but still, we've got so many, that doesn't matter. Let them have something to eat. So at the end here, this is what looks like a mess, but it's actually not. It's pumpkins, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, corn, sunflowers will come up here as well. So you can see this is all sweet potato. And then this is, oh look, I'll show you a baby guinea fowl. You can hear him tweeting away. That's a baby guinea fowl. She's looking for her chicken mother. Her mother's not very good, but her Plymouth Rock chicken mother will come and find her and look after her. So again, more pawpaws, pawpaw, 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 more pumpkin, heaps of pumpkin coming up there. This is raspberries, so I've just cut these back and we got tons and tons and tons of raspberries. So they are a very prickly plant, which you need to know. So it's not that easy to put your hands into the middle to pick things, but you don't need to because the berries are usually on the outside. So we never made anything with it. We just would walk around, pick some berries, eat them, chuck them to the chickens, making super eggs. Pretty cool. So you can see all the new shoots coming up now. These are sweet potato. So with sweet potato, we get beautiful big purple sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes that I just showed you down the back of the block are the golden sweet potatoes. These ones are purple sweet potatoes. So you can eat the potato, you can also eat the leaves. You can eat the stalks, I haven't, but the leaves are really, really great. They're so tasty. And then the other thing that I do is just grab some like that and chuck it over for the chickens. And they will eat the leaves, and then they will break up the stems and eat them as well, and they are very healthy for my super eggs. There's another chili popping up out of nowhere. This is French carrots, which grow here. Because a normal carrot is so long, it's harder to grow them in the tropics because they tend to rot or get eaten. But with the French carrots, they're just like a ball. So we planted them last year and they did really well, but now they've died off. There probably is still some carrots in there, but I'm leaving them in there to grow again this year. And also they seeded, so they self-seeded through the whole bed. So I'm really hoping that they come up again. Again, we have a pawpaw, which I'm leaving in there to fill this bed up. And then here we have asparagus. I've heard that asparagus takes years to grow, but we had asparagus after about 12 months. So when these shoots come up, and they're about that big, you can see that's as thick as a piece of normal asparagus. So when they come up as a new shoot, which these have all obviously grown out, that is asparagus, and you just pick those and eat them. Again, more of the unknown spinach, which is doing really well. More tomatoes, more tree lettuce. That spinach has gone to seed. We also have lots of, in this messy garden, that's very productive, okra. Some people call them ladyfingers. More okra coming up. This one is gone to seed. So you'll see the little okra seeds in there. So I'll just chuck them around. And that's how we garden in tropical Far North Queensland. So that's it. That is the tour of our raised garden bed tropical herb and vegetable garden in beautiful tropical Far North Queensland, Australia. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed showing you what we're doing here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell button, but most importantly, stay calm in the farm, and we'll see you next time.